Okay, I was sharing. Why I'm not sharing anymore? Okay, because I'm going to go live. Hare Krishna. So I'm just waiting to get live, which I think we are now. Hare Krishna. So let me share the screen. Hopefully you can see the screen now. You could hear me, I guess, which means we can carry on. So what we have been doing the overview of Srimad Bhagavatam. And you might think we are going a lot of detail, but imagine we are just doing the overview of Srimad Bhagavad-Gītā, which means we could go even more deeper if we want. We can dissect each and every verse. And there is a flow chart, and all the glories to Prabhuji, whose name is Amrit Ananda. So Amrit Ananda Prabhuji from Seattle in US, he has worked hard, and he got a lot of presentations online if you want to see, or any one of you would like to go and see. But I got these presentations from him, and I use them because he has already invented the wheel. So I thought, why I should reinvent the wheel, because I was about to compile. But what I wanted to do is the flow chart, and what he has done is very similar. And I don't think I would have done such a great work which Prabhuji has done it. So that's the reason I follow. But of course, Prabhuji is inspired by Srila Prabhupada ji, who is the founder Acharya of International Society of Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, and he has it in this book, Bhagavad-Gītā, as it is. And before we go any further, let's do Mangalacharan, take the blessings of Acharyas and Guru and Gauranga. So feel free to join me. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanajanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manoveshtam Tam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadanti Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam Sha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, Samaved Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhesha. Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees. We are doing the overview of Srimad Bhagavad-Gītā. We have been discussing chapter 1 and chapter 2. We nearly reached to the end of chapter 2. So in chapter 2, we started with the what we call Atma Gyan, the knowledge of the soul. So in 2.7, Karpanya Dosha, Upatassa Bhava, Arjun surrendered to Krishna. Then Krishna gave a lot of knowledge to Arjun in chapter 2. The chapter 2, the title is Contents of the whole Bhagavad-Gītā summarized. Because in Bhagavad-Gītā, we will see, and we will see here, that Krishna has given different marg, different yoga methods, different routes to Arjun. Now, Arjun has asked on behalf of us. And when I say us, we all humans. And humans, their philosophy, their mental stability could be categorized in these. So most of the time, and we are thinking in terms of Vedic culture. Of course, there are many non-Vedic, but in Vedic culture, and to great extent, if people will drop those labels we put on the name of religion, if we just consider ourselves as humans, the kind of activities we do to understand the Supreme Lord, what Upanishads call absolute truth. And this is very fascinating, actually, at least to me, that anything else we think in the world is a relative truth. Is a relative truth. What is relative truth? That it could change, and it does change. What we consider as ours change. Our hands change, our eyesight change, our body changes, our parents change, and not only that, we change physically, we change physiologically, emotionally, financially. We keep changing. So, and what do we call as ourselves? It's very hard, very hard if you think about it. So our parents, our kids, my wife, these things are related. There was a time they were not our parents, and there might be a time they will be gone, right? So, but there is one thing which is absolute, and that's God, that's Krishna, that's the Vedic knowledge, Vedic wisdom. And that's the beauty. What we should spend time on. Should we spend time on our body, which is like a pigeon, a cage, and in the cage the bird is there. Should we feed? Should we take care of the cage? So the story where the lady cleans the cage, take very good care of the cage, but does not feed the bird inside. Very similar thing we do, that the bird inside is our soul, our Atma. We don't nourish it with the spiritual food, with the spiritual knowledge, with the transcendental knowledge. But this body is made up of material things, and we are always busy doing material things. So what's more important, material or spiritual? That's the question to ask. Spiritual is absolute. Now, what is absolute? We could think of, and we can discuss. But at least we should reach to the level where we understand that what is that we need to take care of absolute, not relative. So Krishna says to Arjun that if you follow any of these, then you will reach to me, right? Well, you will reach to me, and who am I? I'm absolute truth, something which will never change. Hare Krishna. So these are the routes which Krishna gives in chapter 2. Of course, all the symptoms of Atma, of all the soul, and why they are interested to us, because we are soul. So all these symptoms belong to us. We are eternal. Amazing, isn't it? We are eternal. But when we say we are eternal, we got to understand. We have to reach to the realization that we are soul, not the body. Now, it's easy to say, but very hard to realize it. And what do we mean by realize? That our activities will be like this, that we will not repent when other bodies will leave us, or when we will leave this body. And that's one. There are many others, but that's one of those realizations we can have. When we will not see the difference between two bodies, then because we can see everyone as soul, right? And the soul does not have gender. Soul does not have age. So when we will reach to that level, that's what we call Brahman realization. That now we can, the Brahman and Paramatma realization, not only we can realize we are soul, we can realize everyone else has a separate soul, but also have a super soul in them. And then we are beyond the material nature. And it's such a beautiful state of mind to be in. And you don't need to grow up for that. Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, they were realized at the age of 5 and 6. I think most of you are older than that, right? And there is no guarantee. See, the material wisdom could come from right? It's not a must, but it could come, and most of the time it does, with the age. So wherever you grow up, whatever you grow as, your experience increases. And then based on your age, people can say, oh, you must be so wise because you are so old. And you can understand the kind of thing if you've been doing, well, if you are so old, you must have been doing some things again and again. For example, driving, for example, cooking, for example, speaking a language, right? Or if you're living somewhere, then you might know the local area. These are material things. But with the age, material knowledge of material things could increase, by spiritual might not. So somebody who's 100 years old but did not invest the time in a spiritual knowledge might never get spiritually enlightened, spiritually realized. But you, even at the young age, have equipped yourself with a spiritual knowledge. And spiritual is absolute, material is relative, which means today it has value, tomorrow it might not. Today you have all that knowledge, tomorrow you might not. And there are many examples like that. Somebody might forget, and this happens a lot. So I met somebody in one of the hospitals, and the person said that my father was a teacher, physics and astronomical. Astronomical in physics is like somebody who does with the stars. And he said he used to remember so much, but now he doesn't even remember my name. And that experience hit that guy so much that he realized that all this material knowledge is of not much use, not of no use, because of course all that material knowledge will get you material things, will get you a house, will get you a car, will get you a good job, will get you money. They all are of good use, but that's not the real thing. All these things are good. They are like floor 1, floor 2, floor 3 in a story. But spiritual knowledge is the foundation. If the spiritual knowledge, the foundation is not solid, that doesn't really matter how high rise you go, you always run the risk of falling down. And that's why this spiritual knowledge is so important. And you don't really have to wait. And I would like to congratulate, because you all have started that journey. So Krishna gives all these different options to Arjun, and they all are for us. Because maybe we are on our, remember, it's all about consciousness, right? Of course, when we do few things, our consciousness increases. And that's the reason we do things, or we are supposed to do things. So for example, initially we know that we don't know the driving, for example, right? We are conscious that we don't know the driving. And then later we consciously start driving. But we reach to the level when even unconsciously we are chatting and we could drive now. So our consciousness has reached to that level where even unconsciously we do those things. And if this is a material example, implement that same thing in spirituality. Initially, consciously, we realize we are not spiritual. then consciously we do things. Consciously we do things. And that's why Vedic, or if I say Hindu, rituals and rites, the practices we do, even though we don't understand the meaning behind them, we just do them, right? The arti, the offering to the Lord, and a lot of different activities we do. They are those practices which we do consciously, and slowly, gradually, what happens? We reach to the level where unconsciously these activities, they have improved us so much that we have developed a very stable state of mind. And then, never mind Corona, nothing else can make us unhappy. And happiness or bliss spiritually, that's what we are looking for. Imagine you've been working hard and you win the best sports you play. Let's say you are the man of the match, but for some reason you're not happy. All these things, you have worked so hard, but you're not happy. And I can give you many, many reasons why you're not happy. There could be many reasons. One of them could be maybe because you didn't get good marks, you didn't get admission in the university you are looking for, but you worked hard for the cricket or football or tennis or squash or anything, but you got the medal, but the other part of the life is missing. And here, this medal will not give you happiness anymore, right? This is all external. Whenever happiness depends on external things, it's always at the risk that it could go away and the meaning of those things could go down. But spiritually, when we are happy, doesn't really matter. Even if we get cancer, and this has happened, a devotee got cancer, a devotee got COVID. The top 10, when the COVID started in 2019 or early 2020, when it got prominent here in UK, the top 10 devotee, the top 10 people who lost their life in UK because of COVID, one of them was the head of Bhakti-Vedanta Manor. So Prabhuji was a great guy. And the reason, because he used to do a lot of counseling. And for counseling, a lot of devotees from overseas used to come and meet him. And even due to COVID, he did not, because devotees used to fly. So at that time from Italy, devotees came to meet him. He had the choice to say, no, I don't want to see you. But then his thought process was that whether I risk my life meeting these devotees, or I can serve them, because they are coming here because they are mentally disturbed. In their spiritual life, they need some guidance, which they wanted then face to face. So 3 devotees like that came. And of course, later on, those 3 devotees were tested positive and Prabhuji was tested positive. But when he left, he didn't have any sorry as such to feel for, because what he knew, that he's leaving the body, but he's a soul. Yes, he was in pain. His body was in pain, but still his soul was blissful. When he was leaving, he was happy. He was painful, but still he was happy. And that state of mind, when we able to reach, and this is what very practical I'm saying, when we able to reach that state of mind, nothing in this material world could give us unhappiness. And if you think about it, anything and everything we are trying to do in material world is only for happiness. If we are millionaire, billionaire, or trillionaire these days, but we are not happy, what good that money is going to make? Nothing. We can buy anything we like, but we cannot have the best dish we like because of a mom, or my mom is not making for me because she's unhappy from me. All that money cannot buy that. So all you guys, respect your mom. And I'm missing my mom. I will call her tomorrow morning. Right. So that's one example, but there are many, many, many more like that. All right. So there are different options which Krishna has given to Arjun in chapter 2. And we have gone through, we have discussed all that very briefly. Karma Kanda, the one I said, rites and rituals we do. But the next one where we Karma Yoga, when we in Karma Kanda, we do the rites and rituals, but we expect a lot of things in return, which we get. Karma Yoga, there are many different, chapter 3 we will see in detail, but in Karma Yoga, there are 3 different types of karma. But the Karma Yoga we are thinking here is where we do the service without anything in return. And we can think when parents serve the kids, they don't expect anything in return. Well, sometimes parents think that the kids will grow up and will take care of us when we will grow old. I don't think the parents are naive enough. They don't think that because they know their kids very well. But parents usually don't think, because parents' love is unconditional for the kids. And when we have similar love for Krishna, when we love to do Krishna, when we do the devotional service without expecting anything in return, that's what we call Karma Yoga. That's when we start helping others. And that's karma, action. We do the action. Jnana, so this is called Jnana. Jnana is where we try to acquire the knowledge. Right? We read a lot and we call it Jnana. So Paramhans Yogananda ji, Vivekananda ji, Ramakrishna Paramhans ji, they all belong to Jnana Yoga Marg. Then Ashtanga. So our favorite Baba Ramdev ji, he is one of the leader in Ashtanga Yoga these days. But there's a lot more into it. Ashta is 8, Ang is a limb. So 8 limbs yoga. What do we see? What we call Hatha Yoga got only one part of Ashtanga Yoga. And imagine how Hatha Yoga is famous. Now, when Hatha Yoga itself is so powerful, one limb is so powerful, could you think when the rest of the 7 limbs will come together, how powerful that yoga could be? But despite all that, despite doing good karma unconditionally, which is amazing. Imagine you have a friend next to you, which Krishna is always there, or my best friend Ganesha, we call it. But Krishna is always there. And we could be. Imagine if you have a friend like that who doesn't want anything, but that friend is always with you. Could you think of such a blessed you will be if you have a friend like that? Could be him, could be her. Jnana Yoga. Imagine somebody like Vivekananda ji. Imagine somebody like Baba Ramdev or many others who've been practicing yoga for a long time. But I'm saying that's only one limb. But despite all that, despite all those 3 great marg, great options which Krishna has given to Arjun, when Arjun asked Krishna in the beginning of chapter 4 and even later, Krishna made it very clear the best route is bhakti yoga, is devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada ji focused on that. So all what we read, all what we try to understand is in terms of bhakti yoga. Right? So but we went through, we understood karma yoga, we understood different elements. So how we go up and down on different planets based on our, we will see, Krishna made it very clear that based on karma yoga, when we die, what happens to us. And okay, this is what we see in chapter 6. Nishkam karma yoga again in detail in chapter 3. We saw the, this is all what we have done. So we are just doing very brief recap. So Buddhi yoga is called Nishkam karma yoga. Again, chapter 3 is there, going into detail how to do it. Then Arjun asked, give me the symptoms of the realized person, self-realized person, how that person speaks, how that person sits, how that person walk or behave. And if we learn that, we might be able to do those, not to imitate, but to get inspired, right? Remember, we don't want to imitate, oh, he used to do that, so I will also do. Oh, Swami Vivekananda used to wear that, so I will also wear that. Okay, it's good. It's one of those rites and rituals we can have, but will be of no use until as those rites and rituals will inspire us to change internally. Externally should complement internally, right? and there's many symptoms how that person speaks, sit, and behave. We have discussed that, and that's one of those great cycle which Krishna explained at the end of chapter 2, where Krishna said that when we contemplate on something, we get attached, and when we attach, that attachment gives us the desire, and the desire is that lust here is equivalent to desire. That when we attach to something, we get the desire. And when that desire does not get fulfilled, it could be that I want to watch a movie, I want to watch cricket, I want to go and play this, I want to go out and do this, I want to eat pizza. When we don't, okay, thank you. When Shivani should send me the message, when we don't get those desires fulfilled, and then Krishna said, we get deluded. Deluded means we forget what we are doing. Why? Because we lose our memory. And we lose our memory means we forget our intelligence. So we get deluded because of the loss of memory. Loss of memory means loss of intelligence. A great example I always say, India, Pakistan playing cricket, whichever side, let's say, well, because I'm from India, but either of the team lost it, the followers break their TV. Why? Because they wanted their team to win. They were attached. They contemplated on the results, what will happen when they will win. They will celebrate. So they got attached with the winning of their team. So they have the desire that team should win. Team does not win. What happened then? They get deluded. They forgot everything. They lost their intelligence. And then they fall down. They have broken their TV. What will happen then? When their memory will come down, when their intelligence will come down, they will cry, oh my goodness me, this was the TV. Breaking my TV would not change anything. But why that happened? In that moment when we are angry. So why we are angry? Krishna has given that because we contemplate, because we think of these things. Now Ukraine and Russian war is happening. A lot of things happening there. They do affect us indirectly, but do we have any control over those things? If not, why do we spend time thinking, discussing? Of course, we can learn a lot of lessons from that, but not apart from that. Similar thing in politics and many other topics we can think of. If that's not going to help us, is it wise to think? If we are not thinking, if we are not contemplating, if we are not discussing those things, we will not get attached to them, and we will not have any desire to them. So like when people ask, what do you think? Russia should win or Ukraine will win? I don't know much about. I don't know. Of course, the innocent people should not die. So the war should stop. But whether Russia should win or Ukraine should win, well, I don't think my thinking is going to change anything. So I don't have a desire. Of course, I have a desire that may Krishna stop the war, so no innocent person will die. But that's not discriminating anyone against anyone. So whether whichever religion, whichever country, whichever nation the person is, or whichever religion the person is, right? So this is a cycle we have seen. And contemplate on yourself, how you have you live your life on it. And this is how we have seen the chapter 2. So next Sunday, we will do chapter 3, which is based on karma. So we will discuss a lot of analogies and a lot of examples. Karma is very important because we do things. And that's what Krishna didn't say to Arjun, that leave the war and go in the cave or go on the top of mountain, go in the jungle and do meditation. No. Krishna said to Arjun, go and do the action, fight. And we all are students in the life, we should all study, right? So how we should study, how we should implement the knowledge of the wisdom of Bhagavad-Gītā in our day-to-day life, we will see next Sunday. So thank you so much for everyone's presence today. I look forward to see you next Sunday. If you have Bhagavad-Gītā, please read a bit of chapter 3 and come along with questions and queries, and I would love to discuss with you. So with that, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, Samved Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhesha. Hare Krishna, everyone. Take good care of yourself and look forward to see you next Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.